What up, YouTube? It's Rob Monty here, bringing you guys some more wrestling news content. For today's news, there's a lot of news going on, uh, mainly because I took the day off yesterday due to the fact that there wasn't so much wrestling news yesterday, so I couldn't provide you guys a good content for video. So, you know, first and foremost, because I wanted to say this yesterday, and that's congratulations to Apollo Crews on becoming the new United States champion. All right, so let's just go right into it, guys. We have so much to go on today. Yep. Starting off with Apollo Crews, and this is what Apollo Crews had to say about his United States title victory, as reported on WWE.com. I just gotta say, first, I dedicate this one to my kids and to Linda. I love you. I love all three of you so much. I love you guys so much each and every day. You guys are the reason that I'm here. You guys are the reason that I grind. Why I stay motivated through the tough times, through the great times. You are my reason. You guys are my reason, basically. So, for those of you who haven't watched Raw, just because you didn't have time to, or you are like, fuck WWE, Apollo Crews has become the new United States champion. He did this after defeating Andrade on Monday in an impromptu singles match in which Apollo defeated Andrade using his patented combination of the military press and moonsault finish along with a shooting star press. So, congratulations again to Apollo Crews. And he had to say one more thing about this. The grind never stops, and it won't stop. Now, here's where the hard work really begins. Thanks to anyone who has supported me since day one. Let's make this the first of many. Guys, just letting you guys know, I've been a fan of Apollo Crews since NXT. I had to check out his shit when he was Yeehaw Nation, and I tell you guys right now, he's one of my favorites out there today, and I'm glad he's finally getting a push. I know we were talking about getting him a heel. They're getting him a heel turn, but if this is the beginning of it, I'm all for it. And you know what? This United States Championship, he deserves it. He worked his ass off from humble beginnings for it. Also, El Idolo, he had to go and open his damn mouth and said, I am the real champion of the United States. You had just one lucky night, Apollo. The championship will return to Andrade's waist. And my God, he's talking like he's in the third person, And it's like The Rock talking to himself, or it's like Broly from Dragon Ball Z Abridged going like, Broly Maximum! So, it's just, that's how Andrade sounds like to me right now. Also, for more news on Apollo Crews, he is going to be on the bump this week with that brand new United States Championship victory. He's going to be on the bump discussing stuff and enjoying, and he's even said pop a bottle for it, guys. So, So you know what? If you guys are relaxing and you're going to watch the bump this week, pop a bottle and just sit down, enjoy, and relax. All right, next. This one I have to report. This is about Stephanie McMahon. She's set for a variety panel. And here's what is going on. Because in this variety panel, they're going to be regarding COVID-19 pandemic. She will be joined by LA Rams Chief Operating Officer Kevin Demoff, Fox Sports Executive VP of Digital David Katz, PwC Partner and U.S. Technology, Media, and Telecommunications Industry Leader Mark Caffrey, and they're going to just discuss stuff about what's going on with COVID-19. And it's going to go on and off court. Women are on the rise in the business of sports. Please join Stephanie McMahon and Shelley Zells. All right, so She's set for the variety panel, guys. And this is also related to her. This is also related to that. I believe it was. I brought this up once before. Um, Shelly Zales has a women in the business of sports. Um, Basically, they're gonna have that show going on where she's gonna be featured in it. Stephanie's gonna be featured in it. So what they're going to be doing in this panel is they're probably going to be talking about the COVID-19 pandemic. They're also, especially with all the sports organizations that are still running through it and how they're dealing with it. On top of that, she's also going to probably talk about the new show that she's doing with Shelly Zales. So if you guys want to check that out, that's going to be something interesting. Next, which happens to be what's going on for next week's Raw, as it's a spoiler for next week's episode. And basically, Kairi Sane has been busted open during her match with Nia Jax next week. And you guys are like, next week? I mean, wasn't that this week? I'm like, no, it's next week, guys. As you guys know, Monday Night Raw is taped right now due to the fact that of COVID-19 pandemic, and WWE don't want to risk their superstars or their employees that work at the show, so they're doing tapings on certain dates where they're going to be taping the shows until the pandemic is over. The question is, will they return to regular shows and live shows, or is it going to be just taped? Who knows? But the match was paused while Sane was cut open. She was busted open, bleeding, and she received medical attention. Kairi said she was fine and insisted on finishing the match and will have to be edited as expected. It's a tape show, guys. I don't have no problems of them editing this because, quite honestly, that means they're not going to show you guys the match being stopped, which means the match will go on longer. And you guys won't have any interruptions. Because usually when a match happens and there's interruptions such as this, fans chant, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. And to me, it's like, it's unfair to the program and unfair to the wrestlers when that happens. Kind of ruins the match. So for them to be probably editing this, it's probably smart. You know? That way you guys continue to get the good action. But the main thing is, for a fact, is that they checked on Kairi during this match. The match had quickly went to a finish, which is not known. After being resumed, the injury is said to be not to be serious, and Kairi should be good to go. Why was this match stopped? I think a lot of people are going to be asked if that for this, and basically, what's been reported here is that Kairi Sane, this article here basically goes into more detail about Kairi Sane's injury here and being busted open. She had suffered a cut on her head during the bout while outside the ring. So she probably took a nasty bump somewhere, maybe on the what you call the barricade or the ring post, or Nia might have kicked her in the face. Who knows? We'll see you next week on Raw. But basically, the reports that the match was stopped temporarily, guys, it was due to the fact that Kairi has also been noted to have a long history of suffering concussions inside the squared circle. So more so, they would check on her, especially during this taping, because they want to make sure she's all right in general and not suffering badly from a concussion, you know. As you guys know, concussions are a big thing in wrestling and in sports right now due to the fact that many people have been diagnosed with undiagnosed concussions. And for those of you guys who watch Dark Side of the Ring, Chris Benoit's episode, you will know for a fact that they are being more cautious than ever with the concussions because of the Benoit situation. Fuck, what is that? But you know, that's one of the main reasons why, and they take concussions seriously. So I'm guessing the bump that she took that cut her head open last night. Next week, Monday. My fucking god. Oh, I'm sorry, Lord. I didn't mean to use your name in vain. Anyway, next week's Monday Night Raw, where she suffered a cut, where she suffers her cut or gets busted open. They want to make sure she didn't have a concussion, so good on WWE. But of course, a lot of people are asking, who did she bust her head up against? Why? This is actually a real injury. So this match, she got injured for legitimately and injured for real. She got busted up legitimately. And for those of you guys who are wondering, who was the match was she against? She was against Nia Jax. I think I should leave no comment to this because, a lot of people have said Nia is very dangerous in the ring. In my opinion, she's green. Very, very green. A lot of people will say that maybe she shouldn't be wrestling because she just keeps hurting everybody that she wrestles with. Let me tell you guys this. Usually when it comes to greenhorns, especially that are heavyweight and obese like Nia Jax or let's say Viscera or Mabel, stuff like this does happen. To say that she's dangerous in the ring, I don't know if it's everybody's just claiming her to be dangerous just because she doesn't do the move correctly, or if she's just clumsy in the ring. I believe she's just clumsy in the ring in general. It's not necessarily a bad thing because she's a big person, but I think she needs to slow down and work a big show's style match. She needs to slow it down and let the girls come to her instead of her going to the girls. I mean, I watched a lot of Nia's matches and I think to myself, my God, this woman, she's so athletic and so big and so agile. I mean, she can do whatever she freaking wants in the match, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, she shouldn't be doing that. And she shouldn't be doing that. Like, to me, there's so many things she shouldn't be doing just because I don't think she looks comfortable doing it. I mean, it's not like it's she's doing it on purpose, guys. I'm not saying she's doing it on purpose. I know some people will make that argument. I don't know why, but that's them. But I feel like she needs to slow down her move style a little bit more and do lesser complicated shit, I mean, she's not a young buck. She's not Nick. She's not Matt. She's not Rey Mysterio, for crying out loud. In fact, all she has to do is just stand there and let Mysterio come to her, and she just helps him, pushes him up, and let him fall. I mean, she needs to work a giant style. She's a giant for the women. She should be working a giant style. She shouldn't be working like the cruiserweights, guys. I'm sorry if you guys think she should, but she should be working like a big girl, and I think she's just, I don't know who's coaching her in the right way, but it's becoming a problem. It's been a problem. It's becoming more of a problem. And if I'm not just saying this because I'm also playing favoritism to Asian female wrestlers, but when it comes to Nia, I think somebody just needs to sit her down and say, hey, take it slower. Let them come to you, and you just let them work around you, and you just manipulate them. Like, for crying out loud, it's like how my judo coach would say to me a lot of times. Sometimes the guys in your fucking weight class, Rob, you could have had them beat so many times. You just needed to let them come to you. And that's one of the things he used to say to me. So, for a lot of things, when I look at in this situation for Nia, I mean, I think she just needs to slow down her style. I mean, yes, there's a good time to actually show off that agility and speed, but there's also not a good time to do something like that because it just doesn't work that way for you. You should be working a giant. She should be working as a giant, in my opinion, because that's what she is. She's the giant of all the women right now. I mean, even if you were to put her in AEW's women roster, which a lot of people would be fucking mad at me for doing so, it's like all the girls there, she dwarfs. Lil Riho looks like a little stick compared to Nia. For crying out loud. Nyla Rose looks like Beth Phoenix, but damn, she would have a hard time measuring up to Nia Jax. And I honestly believe Nia Jax could kick Nyla Rose's ass. And that's just the bottom line. But that's just my opinion. My opinion is she just needs to slow it down, and somebody needs to sit back, stand back, and coach her, you know? Alright, speaking of more Monday Night Raw news, we're going to go on to tomorrow, next week's big segment. This was announced yesterday, especially by WWE, who has confirmed a big segment for next week's Monday Night Raw broadcast, and they also announced a big match. First and foremost, we're going to start off with the well, I think I should just go right into it because it says it right there. Next week's segment on Monday Night Raw will be Rey Mysterio's retirement ceremony. I honestly believe this is storyline driven. I don't believe this is his actual retirement. But the whole idea is that his current contract and deal with the company has expired, and they're working on negotiations on him resigning with WWE. Rey Mysterio, being the good guy that he is, folks, he doesn't want to upset the company and make them upset with him. So, in general, they're just trying to work on a good deal, and basically, you know, they're trying to work on a big deal, on a good deal. On top of that, guys, the main reason why Rey Mysterio wants to stick around too is just because he wants to see Dominic get a WWE contract and, you know, being able to work and pass on the family legacy, you know? So, and that's one of their goals, I believe. Rey and Dominic want to wrestle as a tag team in WWE, so I'm going to say this much. That is a good reason for Rey to fight for that contract and negotiate for a good contract. At the same time, I could see WWE not wanting to lose Mysterio either. And I know what everybody's going to say. Well, they don't want to lose him because they don't want AEW to gain him and all that. But it's not just AEW they're worried about. It's New Japan grabbing Rey. As you guys know, in this current landscape, New Japan is number 2 in the wrestling business as I'm concerned. But with AEW being number 2 right now in everybody else's eyes, you know, New Japan is still a big deal. Still a big deal. So, Rey going to any of those two companies will be a definite big blow to WWE, and I can understand WWE wanting to keep him during that thing. It's not to be petty, it's just that would be stupid not to fight for Rey's contract and bid for a contract there, you know? It would be stupid of them to let Rey go to AEW or Ring of Honor or New Japan, you know? And I know a lot of fans going, he should though, he should. It's like, well, then that's not good business practice by WWE. I mean, for crying out loud. I mean, this is somebody that they see as a valuable talent. And if you let that talent slip by, like how freaking Impact did with Matt Hardy and all them, I mean, God, you are really stupid at business. So, as far as I'm concerned, WWE, they're going to be negotiating him. And why wouldn't you fucking negotiate for Rey Mysterio's contract? Main reason is this, guys. It's not about being petty. It's about having the best talent in the world, for one. And two, when you look at Rey's legacy in luchador experience, do you know how much he could pass on to the next generation of luchador wrestlers that come up to WWE? Rey would be such a valuable asset to WWE in that department, especially in developing them, especially if he does retire from in-ring competition, guys. I don't think WWE would want to lose Rey at all in that perspective as well. Another thing is to think about is his son Dominic, guys. If you look, Rey is coming to the end of his career. Yes, we all agreed on that, and it's very, very much so. He's going to be coming to the end of his career. But you have Dominic, his son, that he's actually training himself, who he's having gone to the Performance Center and all these different dojos so that he would get ready to become a member of an actual active wrestling roster. That's somebody that you can look towards to the future. And Dominic will have to make his own future, as most people will know, but that's actually fucking good news, because that means we could actually have a next line of Mysterio in WWE. So I can understand WWE more so wanting to get Rey's contract. And as far as I'm concerned, Rey's contract is one of the most valuable contracts in the wrestling world. Main reason too, guys, is just he's the number one luchador in the world right now. I don't care about your Alberto Del Rios, your El Hidos, or your Prince Pumas and all that shit. Rey is the only one that stands out like a sore thumb to me. Quite honestly, that luchador experience that Rey Mysterio has and the way he's done it, he's probably the one guy who's done it right in this current landscape. Everybody's gonna bring up Eddie Guerrero, Chavo Guerrero, or freaking El Santo, Mil Mascaras, and even the Colones. I'm gonna say this much: yeah, you can bring those guys up, but here's the thing: Eddie's passed on. Chavo Sr. is passed on. Chavo Guerrero Jr. is somewhere else. As far as El Santo and Mil Mascaras, they're retired or passed on there. I mean, they're deceased, basically. When Rey is still wrestling and still active, he's probably the greatest luchador out there to have. And losing Rey to any of the other companies would be a bad move and a big loss and a big blow to the WWE. And Rey's the only one in this current landscape that's done it right as far as being a luchador. I mean, you don't really see that much with a lot of the other luchador wrestlers these days that haven't done it right, where they haven't been successful enough to be at the level Rey's at. I think the last person that even came close was Alberto Del Rio, and all the guys like I mentioned, Eddie Guerrero, Mil Mascaras, and El Santo, those guys, or even Pedro Morales for that matter, those guys are, they're gone. They passed on or they retired, and quite honestly, yeah. Rey's in that legendary group in itself. So you talk about Rey Mysterio, guys. I mean, that's just a fact. I mean, anybody asks you about luchador wrestling, who's the first person that comes up? Is it Lizmark Jr.? No. Is it Kalisto? No. Is it Tiger Mask? Well, Tiger Mask might have argument there in Japan, but anyway. Rey is one of the best masked wrestlers in the world and has done it properly to the point where he's made it all the way to the world title. Along with, and there's only been a few guys who's even matched where Rey's at as far as being a luchador, Only a few guys. And when it comes to the greatest luchadors in wrestling, in my opinion, we're going to be talking about Pedro Morales. We're going to be talking about El Santo, Mil Mascaras, Eddie Guerrero, and Rey Mysterio. I would have involved Juventud Guerrero or Ultimo Dragon in that, but it's like they didn't make it big in the WWE. And And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, that's not cool that you would leave him out because they made it big everywhere else. That's true, but Rey has made it big. Rey, Guerrero, Mil Mascaras, El Santo, and Pedro Morales, they made it everywhere. Everywhere. It's not just about being majority, but all. Right there. That's what I'm saying. So if WWE wants to keep Rey Mysterio, they're going to fight for his contract. They want to make sure they can have Rey as long as they can. Especially what Rey can offer them in the future, even when he's not wrestling anymore. So I can understand why they would want Rey a lot. So both sides want to stay together. You know, they want to be there. So it's just a matter of working out the right deal. As far as next week we're going to see this segment. If Rey doesn't sign with WWE in negotiations here, guys, it's stated that they're going to probably do what they did with Matt Hardy when Matt Hardy worked his last show with WWE. So that's going to be a possibility there. As far as next week goes, if you guys are going to check out next week's matches, it'll be Aleister Black versus Seth Rollins. 1-on-1. And this is in reaction to Seth Rollins injuring Mysterio storyline-wise. Alright, next week on Fox Sports 1 WWE Backstage, CM Punk will be returning. And as you guys know, every time Punk returns, the show's ratings increase. As far as Fox Sports 1 goes, they will also be airing the complete 2018 pay-per-view of WWE Evolution. As you guys know, that's the pay-per-view that was main evented by Ronda Rousey and Nikki Bella, or both Bella twins, which featured in October 2018, and it will air on Fox Sports 1 on July 9th at 7 p.m. So if you guys want to catch that, and if you don't have the network but you want to catch the all-women's pay-per-view, it'll be on Fox 1, July 9th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Alright, next on our show, Tama Tonga discusses Kenny Omega going rogue with the Elite. And this is what he had to say. Why the Elite and the Bullet Club split? It just felt like the Elite group was building something on their own. We were here in Japan on every single tour doing what we had to do. And they were going rogue and just doing whatever the hell they wanted to do. Enough was enough. Is DQs in 2018's G1 getting negative feedback? There was a lot of press around me. Is how I hear that. I took it back to where we start. We're at the start. We're at the start. Then it was all about getting heat. I'm an artist in that regard. I decided I'm going out there and making it heat art. His initial thoughts on Jay White joining the group. At first I wasn't sure, not right away. I will make do and adapt with every situation. So when Jay came in, I thought, okay, let's make it work. Let's see. But I didn't know yet how good he'd be as a frontman. Thoughts on Kenta. We were looking for him to bring fire he had before. We expected him to bring that fire and to build on it. He's found himself again. We've given him that platform to find himself again. We don't want him to be the badass he was 10 years ago. We want him to be the badass in the world, in this world right now. And he's got that fire, man. Alright. So, my opinion of this, I agree with him. I mean, this is why I agree with Tama Tonga, not just because he's my boy in New Japan. I mean, he's really, really one of my favorites up there. As far as the Elite and the Bullet Club split, I mean, it was obvious this was going to happen eventually because, for one, it's exactly like how he said. The Elite were going rogue, whereas the Bullet Club, they were basically doing their own thing. And I remember watching Being the Elite, and they only featured Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Taji Ishimori, and even Chase Owens and Takahashi, all of them, and even Tonga. I mean, Leo Hukuli. Fuck, I don't know how to pronounce his name right. Anyway, they took all those guys that were in the Bullet Club still, even Bad Luck Fale, and they didn't even feature them once. And when they did, it was like, okay, whatever. I mean, you guys are part of the Bullet Club, so you brought them into it just because you guys want to handle the situation between Kenny and Cody. So I agree with Tonga on that, guys. They went rogue and did their own thing on YouTube, and they didn't even bother to ask the other guys in the Bullet Club to even help them with their show. And when they did, it's like it was like so minor compared to what they already had, you know. So I can understand why the Elite and Bullet Club split off, and I can understand Tonga's reasoning, you know. And to be honest, I think they made the right choice as far as being the firing squad and basically saying fuck the Elite kind of deal. And you know what? That's my honest opinion on that. As far as Kenta being the badass of yesterday instead of the badass right now, if you are one of the best in the world, you want to be the badass in the world right now. So I definitely agree. And the fact that Kenta has found himself, Kenta had new life when he joined the Bullet Club, guys. I really enjoyed that segment when he joined and beat the shit out of his old friends. It was awesome. It was awesome. And as far as Jay White goes, I don't know. I feel like Jay White is missing something, but you know what? If he's doing something good, I'm not gonna dog it. You know, I'm just not. Fucking, I think I have some fiberglass stuck in my thumb. Fuck. Anyway, next, Kofi Kingston looks back on the impact of Shad Gaspard, and this is this is on the New Day's podcast, and no, this was on It was on Backstage, and what he said was, you know, on the inside, he was just kind of a gentle giant who really enjoyed the presence of other people, and it was shown by just being there. That on that beach with all those people, I looked around several times saying, man, Shad really had an impact. Really, really had an impact. It's definitely unfortunate for sure for his wife, his son, but with a glass half full mentally, it really emphasizes how important it is to live your life with enthusiasm and with passion, you know, and kindness. So that way, when the day comes when you do get off to a different place, get called to a different place, you have left an impact. Shad definitely 100% left an impact. And that was said on WWE Backstage by former WWE Champion Kofi Kingston. Alright. Also, well, let's go on before we start going on. That Edge looks back at his match with Owen Hart in 1998 at Breakdown. And this is what he had to say. He had a little bit of a sore groin that night. He was all taped up. And I had all these ideas because I dreamt of wrestling Owen Hart. He was one of the people when I would be driving or I'd be daydreaming or I'd be sitting in class. And I think, right, Owen and I can do this. We can do that. Or what if we did this? Or what if we did that? So now I have an opportunity. So I pitched all these ideas, and he was like, cool, let's do it. We came back after the match. He said, man, that was fun. I actually got to wrestle. That was a huge compliment. I'll never forget that. Wow. Wow, that's awesome. I'm going to actually have to check that match out again. I want to watch it. Oh, man. And it's, you know why I want to watch it too, guys? It's because that was probably one of the only confrontations between Edge and Owen Hart. And quite honestly, I felt like that would have been a great match even today. And just imagine if Owen had lived and him and Edge were going at it at WrestleMania. That would have been awesome. leaving the building before Owen's passing. We actually left the building because we weren't on the show. I think Luna called Dave Gangrel because we were riding together and told us. And we went to the hospital. Jeff was the only one there, and we just sat. We knew, but we just sat there. We sat there for hours, just thinking that can't be real. How is that real? Even to this day, it just doesn't seem real. Man, it's sad. As you guys know, this is for all of you guys who are wondering where you can listen to this interview or talk. Go to Inside the Ropes video. They have one on Edge and Owen Hart. Also, as you guys know, Edge will be in a match at Backlash against this man, Randy Orton, who unfortunately fortunately for himself, said he bought himself a plane. And if you look at his face, he's like, yeah, I bought a plane. What's up? Kind of look on his face, saying, fucked around, bought a plane. Greatest wrestling match ever. What a rib. Hate, but I don't blame you. Hate, but I don't blame you. So I'm guessing Randy bought this plane last night due to somebody getting on his case. I wonder if this was from Vince or Edge, one of the persons, but basically now Randy has a private jet now. As you can see, there's a bathroom there with a shower, a couch, and of course Randy just like, whatever, what the fuck kind of face look. Oh man, I want to see what people have to say about this on the Discuss chat. And he says, damn, it feels good to be gangsta. With the gangster gif. Okay, so Randy's a gangster now. Alright, as you guys know, with the unfortunate passing of Hana Kimura last week, brought up a lot of things. I mean, she passed away due to her committed suicide. Like I said before, I still consider it a murder. But due to her suicide, Terrace House Tokyo 2019 to 2020 has been canceled. This is what it had been said. We would like to express our sincere condolences for the death of Hana Kimura, who appeared on the program. We also deeply mourn the bereaved families. The statement reads, regarding the Terrace House Tokyo 2019 to 2020, we have decided to stop recording and broadcasting and distribution of FOD in the future. We take this issue very seriously and would like to continue earnestly to respond to it. According to several Japanese media outlets, Kimura's cause of death was suicide after she was targeted by bullies on social media. Like I said before, guys, if you are cyberbullying, you're an asshole. You're a complete asshole. Which means I don't respect you one bit or another. In that sense. And what happened with Hannah, like I said, they say it's suicide. I consider it murder because she was pushed to do it. I mean, when you read some of the comments of people saying, why don't you go off yourself kind of thing, that is just very, very fucked up. That's just my honest opinion. So that's why I consider it a murder. As for Terrace House, oh man, that sucks. Because Terrace House is actually a fun show to watch, guys. I've been enjoying it. Oh man. But that really sucks. Alright, next on the news, Becky Lynch comments her pregnancy impossible to a WWE return. This is what she had to... Holy crap. So she had to say, well, it's tough because I've given my whole life to wrestling and moving forward in my career, but this was a choice for me. Felt like the right one because it is wild that a lot of women still have to choose between their athletics or a family. And I didn't want to have to choose that. For me, this was the right time to go and start a family. Something that I've always wanted to do. And so I feel I've achieved nearly everything I could achieve in wrestling. I think there's nothing more important than family. And I'm so excited to experience that and to have this other person that is half me and half of the love of my life, that I get to go, get to show love. Wow. And I'm gonna, guys, this is on her interview on ESPN. So if you guys want to check out, I'm only gonna read a few things from here. And this is what it says on her thoughts returning on the ring later on. And she says, "Yeah, it's one of those things where I know what I feel and think as a person without a child. I don't know what that's going to look like when I do have one, and that's my priority. I'll tell you, it'll give me more motivation than ever I could imagine. But this is the end of me, one way or the other." Wow. And then Triple H explains why he thinks The Undertaker hasn't retired yet. And I know somebody's going out there going like, fuck your Triple H, fuck Triple H. He's the reason why Taker's still wrestling. It's like, you need to shut the fuck up. I'm just saying. So this is what Triple H had to say. Which is it's just right here. It's an addiction. The crowd, the thrill of it, there's nothing like it. To stand in that ring and have those emotions in your head, the feeling is incredible. It's the greatest form of entertainment. When it's done, well, think of it this way. What other sport or anything else can bring 100,000 into a stadium? You're not focused on everything but the fans. If you go to into the Super Bowl, going to play a Super Bowl, you're thinking about that game. You're almost trying to shut out the fan experience and concentrate on the game. Don't let the bigness and the epicness of it, the moment of it, get to you. You just want to focus on the game. If you're a fighter, you're fighting in a stadium and it's sold out, your focus is on the other fighter. You can't focus on the crowd and take your mind off the game. In our business, it's the exact opposite. It's those fans and that moment. That's what you're trying to get out of them. You're so tuned in with those reactions. When you're really good at this and have done it for a long time, their reaction is like your heartbeat. It's the most exciting, intoxicating thing that there is. To put that down is really difficult. I don't like saying this because it sounds shallow, but it's almost everything that you are. So it's tough and a catch-22 if you go in there and don't feel like you had the performance you want. Oh man, I can't leave it that way. If you go there, and you tear it up and it was great, I could do that again. I still got it and can continue to do this. That wasn't so bad. I got more. It's tough. When the feeling is good, you want to do it again and you keep doing it. When it's bad, you can't leave it that way because you have to end on a good note. I hear people say, and I've heard Taker say, it's chasing the dragon. You're always going to chase the dragon. And that is very true, my friends. The biggest drug for wrestlers in their wrestling career is chasing that dragon, which is the crowd. How you can get the crowd to go cheer one last time for you. And finding that good match. And that's what Taker's been trying to say in his Last Ride documentary. So, as far as chasing the dragon goes, if you guys ever watch an episode of South Park where Randy and Stan, I think it was Guitar Hero, I believe that was the name of the episode, where Stan and Kyle ended up trying to become rock stars through Guitar Hero. then he gets a problem by going solo, and then he ends up having playing heroin hero where he just shoots himself and trying to catch a dragon. That's basically what this is. And I think Randy was the one doing the last one and going like, oh, oh. And at the end, Stan goes, Dad, you don't catch the dragon. You never do. Oh, man. I recommend you guys watch that episode and you can understand what he's saying. My God. Alright, so if you guys want to read the rest of this interview, I'm probably going to read it after this recording because I feel like this is interesting. This is on CBS Sports. And, you know what? I'm pretty sure it's going to be on YouTube somewhere or somewhere. So, yeah. Next, Alex Shelley reveals why he stayed in TNA so long. And this is what he had to say. This is an actually awesome question. I stayed with TNA from 2010 to 2012 because I was in college and paying my way through. It was income, and I never took out a student loan. Also, additionally, Okada was one of my best friends, and I wanted to make sure he was safe and sane. So this man was going to college while competing for TNA in 2010, guys. Fucking awesome. Alright, now, Kurt Angle and WWE share a first look at cage fight structure. And this is what this thing looks like. And my God, it looks... Wow, this is going to be the next form of cage matches, guys. And I'm kind of like, whoa. A fight pit for a cage. With special guest referee. Man, just think about it. If Ken Shamrock was still with WWE and they did something like this would be fucking awesome. Holy shit, look at that, guys. This is going to be a fight in a cage. That's for sure. And this is what Kurt Angle had to say. It's going down tonight. Cage fight. Riddle versus Thatcher. My God, guys. If you guys are going to enjoy NXT tonight. Holy shit. That is dope. Scaffolds and cages galore, my friends. Holy shit, I want to watch this. Oh man, I'm going to tune into NXT tonight, guys. JTG, more slated on the Bump next week. So, the Bump's official Twitter page has confirmed that JTG and WWE Hall of Famers Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels will join the show next week. The program will air on social media as well as YouTube and WWE Network. JTG will celebrate the life of his best friend and tag team partner Chad Gaspard. So JTG will be on the Bump next week, guys. All right. And as y'all know, the new All Elite Wrestling superstar Brian Cage has appeared on the Pat Buck Show. And as you guys know, he has debuted at the... Man, it was smart that they did that at Double or Nothing to bring Brian Cage as the final entrant of the Casino ladder match. Main reason why I say that is just because, my God, he was the one guy everybody was not hoping for. A lot of people were asking Drew Gulak. People were saying Sting. People were saying this. And nobody even thought of Brian Cage. That's crazy shit to think about. And this is what he says. Being mad about the false reports circulating that he signed with AEW, fearing it would eliminate his options further. He said, I was so mad at the website that put that out there because it wasn't even Melissa went hard on Twitter. And fans said, of course you're going to say that and try to kayfabe it. But no, I was thinking my livelihood just got stripped away from me because Homeboy wanted to get a few clickbaits online. I was really hot about it. But luckily, Impact did end up sending me an offer later that night. Everything with everybody still kind of worked out, so thank God. Even with having surgery, I wasn't left in the dark with everybody still pursuing me. This will be on the Pat Buck show. So for what it's worth, guys, Brian Cage was getting his surgery done and getting some injuries fixed up before he even made a decision of signing with AEW or Impact Wrestling. Quite honestly, I want to report on this when I've decided to come back and do wrestling news. But seeing how Melissa got mad when rumors broke out about Brian Cage signing with with AEW, I just said no, not time yet for that. So I always had a feeling he was going to sign with AEW due to the fact that he's friends with Kenny Omega and the Bucks. But I always had a feeling that, man, I don't think he wants to go out of Impact with such a low role that he had at the end. I mean, he was supposed to be their world champion. He could have been their biggest star too. And I think the thing that probably made them mad about it too, is just about this whole report, is I can see honestly, he doesn't want to burn the bridges with Impact. He wanted things to be done the right way. He didn't want people to go out and say, well, frick, he's not reliable because he wants to go to the big company, so he's blacklisted. He didn't want to blacklist himself in the wrestling biz. So when he made his decision to join AEW, it was more at a peaceful rate, but the fact that got out, that he was in negotiations with him, it's like, motherfucker, you trying to fucking ruin me right now? I can understand. He didn't want to burn no bridges. And you shouldn't. He shouldn't have to burn bridges to get over anywhere else. So, you know what? I'm glad that he signed with AEW. I think he's going to be a big star for them. But the reason why he didn't want to burn his bridges with Impact, folks, from what it sounds like, it's just because, what if Tony Khan doesn't agree to sign Brian Cage, you know? What if the Bucks and them all decide, you know what, X-Nay on Cage? Where does he go from there if he's blacklisted from Impact? You know? It's a very good question, right? Alright, next, The Undertaker discusses his nearly catastrophic bump during the Goldberg match. And this is the one that he had to say. The worst bumps he has taken. Years ago, I was working Yokozuna. I gave him a flying DDT. Yoko at the time was closing on about 600 pounds, his body weight. He hit like half a second. I did on the mat. And it drove a piece of wood and it caught me in the ribs and snapped 2 of my ribs. That was really painful. That was pretty painful. Oh, I think I remember this injury because I remember Kevin Nash talking about Taker's walking in with a trench coat and taped up ribs underneath, and he ain't missing shots. I remember Nash saying that. And this is what also, and then Taker said, obviously I had a few recently. That bump I had in Saudi when I was working with Goldberg, I think that one was a couple inches from being catastrophic. The way I hit on that one, it's kind of set out nerve impulses to all my injuries at once. It was just like an electrical charge that went through my body. And then, all right. This interview, guys, Taker has went on and said he had 17, 18 surgeries, and the worst bumps he's ever taken was the one that he did with Yoko, but which, you know, that one's more understandable than the match with Goldberg. I mean, the match with Goldberg, when you look at that jackhammer and see that nasty ass bump, I wouldn't blame Undertaker saying, "Fuck this, we're going home," kind of deal. And that's what he did at the Super Showdown. I know I gave it a good rating, but I look at that match now and I think, man, that was a fucked up bullshit match. That should never have happened in this era. It should have happened back in 2003 or 2002. I gave it a good rating because I was trying to be fair to both guys, so that's just my honest opinion on that. Mm-hmm. Alright, and then Taker goes on to talk about his Infernal match with Kane. When you're young, you think you're invincible, and so anything that they throw at you, you're like, okay, how are we going to do it? WWE doesn't leave anything to chance. It was well thought out. The one match I guess I lifted an eyebrow a little bit to was the Inferno match. I was just like, wait a minute, how are we going to work and do our stuff with the ropes on fire? So that one I've lifted a brow on, but they told me how they were going to do it. Of course, I was in there with Kane, who I had the utmost confidence in, so it turned out really, really good. Fortunately, he got lit up and I didn't. Oh, Kane was lit up from the arm and up. Alright, AJ Styles, guys, will be scheduled to appear on the After Bell podcast this week. He will be talking with Corey Graves. He will be talking about his epic Boneyard match with Taker at WrestleMania. He's talking about his participation on SmackDown with the Intercontinental Championship Tournament. And his classic with Shinsuke Nakamura in the first round. You guys can catch that all on WWE's After the Bell. Drops on Thursday. Subscribe and listen to it and never miss an episode. It's a pretty good show, guys. I recommend watching it, you know. Alright, Eric Bischoff talks about if Chris Jericho belongs on the list of top 5 heels. And this is what he had to say. My God. And let's just summarize it. I don't know. I have much respect for Chris Jericho. We're good friends. Is the disadvantage that Chris has terms on his legacy and being compared to people. Gosh. Jericho's behind. The peak of Jericho's behind him. Hogan's was probably in the mid-'80s. It doesn't mean he wasn't viable in the 90s, but the very peak of Chris's career, I think, was in WWE of his stardom and the magnitude. So basically, he's saying that Jericho's peak was while he was in WWE, which is true. And basically, his performances and the characters reinventing him are not necessarily more interesting or allows him relevance is probably better to say it. But it's going to be hard for Chris Jericho to be remembered as some of the bigger stars that he was in WWE when, by the way, he was surrounded by guys like The Rock, John Cena, Randy Orton, and others whose stars were just as big as his. I hope that makes sense. I think he certainly deserves a lot of credit about able to reinvent himself and remain not only relevant, but relevant on a high level. But I don't know if that in it of itself, it will put him on the same pedestal as guys like Rock, John Cena, Randy Orton, who are really his peers at the peak of his career. So, what is Bischoff saying here on 83 Weeks about Jericho not being one of the top 5 heels of all time? I agree. He's not. I can name 5 other guys who probably deserve that spot. Let's just say this. If it was the 2000s, would he be a top heel in the 2000s and onward? Yes, he would be. But we're talking about of all time, there was so much greater heels. I mean, I'll name a few right here. Harley Race, Ric Flair, Hollywood Hogan would be another one on that list. I don't want to add in Austin or Brett because they were kind of switch. But then I would also name Piper as a top heel. I would also name Andre as a top heel at one time. Oh, shit, I mean, like, there's been plenty. And I would add Triple H in that class, too, because he's the ultimate He's the ultimate heel as far as the current generation goes. Hey, I mean, so I wouldn't consider Chris Jericho on this list in general. I wouldn't. Um, I know a lot of people are going to be like, fuck you, Jericho needs to be on the top 5 heels of all time. I'm like, no, Jericho might be in the top 10, not the top 5. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Alright. Alright, so Jim Ross was on Ariel Helwani's and he had to describe his relationship with him and Vince McMahon currently. And this is what he had to say. I think it's okay. You know, we don't talk as much as, obviously, as we used to. I remember his birthday. I remember the holidays. He remembers my birthdays. Things like that. I'll get a text, or he will get a text. I congratulated him on WrestleMania for what they did with Undertaker and AJ. I thought really, really good. And it was a production masterpiece. So I congratulated him on that. But you know, it's a competitive world. We had great times together, or some real tough times. And this Owen Hart thing that aired last night was one of them. Certainly, but my relationship with him, I've got to get past my ego, Ariel. On the creatives, did I like kissing his ass on the skit? No. Did I like Dr. Heine? No, but I got paid real well for all that stuff. And it helped me provide a good lifestyle for my family and my kids. I put 2 wives and now 2 granddaughters through college, and I could do it. I helped improve their life because Vince helped improve mine, so I'm not bitter at him at all. It's a really good statement. So that means JR's relationship with Vince is pretty good at this moment. I mean, it's not bad. I know a lot of people will assume that, but no, it's pretty good right now. And this is what this asshole had to say. It has to be the worst just thinking about it up till he actually did it. It had to be constantly on his mind, especially they're talking about the Owen Hart thing. You guys want my honest opinion? For anybody that could bitch about Vince McMahon about handling that situation in such a poor way, I think Vince only did what he thought he could do. And you gotta remember, I know Martha said it was like they scooped Owen up like a piece of trash, but that's coming from a viewpoint where you're just angry at the point when you're saying it. Vince probably wanted to get Owen to a hospital quick. You never knew if Owen was dead or not until they actually could confirm it. So for them, it's like they had to get him out of there just in case they could save him or could revive him from that fall. And, you know, I think Vince could do what he did, and that's what happened. I'm sorry if you guys don't like that. And for JR to be the one that had to do it in 10 seconds, I would say don't even read into that. That's just being stupid, being bullshit. You know, if anything, everybody probably just found out that moment. So usually when it comes to like tragic situations like this, you don't really know until somebody tells you. And the only person who had any idea if Owen was dead or not was King, and that was when King looked at Owen in the ring and came back to his seat, but it wasn't confirmed. For all you know, he could have been unconscious still, but he looked dead. So for this whole thing, right? I mean, you cannot get upset with Vince about it too much, and you can't. You know, it's just a tragic accident. You know, so I know some people are not going to agree with me on that, but that's just how I feel about it. Trial date for Jeff Jarrett and GFW versus Impact is set to take place on June 30th. Two sides have been negotiating a settlement, but they were unable to. The judge in the case, which was filed, had ordered a mediation between the two last month. Jeff Jarrett was there in person, while Impact President Ed Nordum was there by teleconference, and he is currently in Canada and can't enter the United States due to COVID-19. According to the official court filing, the trial date is realistic, notwithstanding COVID-19, and the parties shall anticipate going forward on that date. For those unaware, Jeff Jarrett sued Impact and Anthem, claiming that Anthem used his GFW amp tapes without his permission. He also claimed they wouldn't return the masters, which were apparently deleted by Anthem. So those of you guys out there who want to know what this is all about, that's what it's all about. So, Jeff Jarrett's two companies will be battling out in court on June 30th. Also, guys, check out the new Being the Elite video, which is episode 205, Stadium Stampede. I actually watched it. It was pretty fun. Enjoy it. Just watch and enjoy on that. And then, speaking of Elite, Kenny Omega responds. Actually, this goes with what I'm going to say now. Deonna Purrazzo has re-signed with Impact Wrestling, folks. She is now returned home back to Impact Wrestling after being released by WWE. And she also went on an interview with Wrestling Inc., discussing her matches with Nia Jax. The last match with Nia is funny because it's full circle. My first NXT as an extra talent was against Nia, and that spans a 5-year difference. From day one to my last day in WWE, she has been so great. Never have I walked away hurt or banged up or feeling like I can't work the next day. I feel the need to defend her from my point of view because I can't say anything negative about her. She's been kind of a generous person to me. She's been friendly, and when she hasn't needed to be, and she's been giving in the ring when she certainly didn't need to be. I have a different point of view because I've done this from the beginning of her career and to now, and the beginning of my career to now, and I've never walked away hurt. Wow. And now Kenny Omega is responding, guys, to the criticism over why AEW did not sign her. And this is what the fans had to say. So word, Deonna Purrazzo is heading to Impact. My first thought is, how is a company like Impact Wrestling able to have a women's division that's 10 times better than AEW's? Especially when AEW needs all the help they can get for that division. Kenny Omega drops the ball again. And Omega goes on to say, truly happy for Deonna, but I'm incredibly proud of our division and its athletes. You should try watching some of our matches. Start with the recent title match from a few days ago, and then honestly tell me we need help. You guys need help, Kenny. I'm sorry to tell you that. And it's not because of the women that you have in there. It's just because you guys don't give them enough good storyline. You don't give them good enough storyline. They don't have no character. They don't have no personality. So I can't really enjoy them as much as I would love to. And you know what? Hikaru Shida is one of the hottest girls in the world I've ever seen. And the fans go, with all due respect, I've watched them all. Women's wrestling is pretty much all I watch from all companies. And I'm sorry to say, and I'm not alone on this feeling. But aside from a couple others, only thing you've really done right is that last match. Improve it is all I ask. Omega says some strong thoughts that I very much disagree with, but that's completely fine. Watch and enjoy. Watch you enjoy, sir. So, Kenny, you strongly disagree with it. You know what? That should be a sign. If you feel like it's good, why don't you try and push yourself to improve their matches? Your girls don't have that much personality. I'm sorry to tell you that, Kenny. I'm sorry to tell you that. Riho, that was cool. Riho's awesome. I like Riho. Nyla, okay, that's a good story. Britt Baker, even Britt Baker being a heel, sucks. Hikaru Shida, I'm still trying to figure out her personality here, guys. And I feel like she has a lot of potential there. Emi Sakura, Okay, I understand. Coach. Yuki the magical girl. Like, why is it that, and then Chris Stanlander and all these different girls, I'm just like, my God. Kenny, fucking put them in a contemporary storyline for them. Because WWE is doing better in contemporary work for the women. And Impact is doing such 20 times better than what you have produced us. I mean, fucking think about it. Rosemary, Sue Young, Tessa Blanchard, fucking Jordan Grace, freaking Jessica Havoc. All those girls are fucking over right now just because they are contemporary. They have a story going for them. It works. Their matches are great. When I watch your guys' stuff, it's like, okay, I only know a few of these girls and some of them who are actually really top talent from what you guys produce, but you guys didn't even give me a storyline to get behind even one. So what the hell? That's my honest opinion, folks. And if you hate me for that, that's fine. That's fine. But I'm saying is the AEW women's roster is not as good as the ones in Stardom. It's not as good as the ones in WWE, and it's not as good as the one in Impact. I think Impact is leaps and bounds better than most other companies when it comes to women's wrestling. I'm sorry to tell you that. Alright guys, so that's it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you leave a like, subscribe, and you know what? Leave a comment. If you guys want to send some hate my way, because I hated on Kenny Omega right now. High five. Other than that, you guys enjoy and take care and God bless. Even those guys who are going to be hating, love y'all. Take care.